What's up, hobby friends? My name is Casey and welcome to another miniature rescue. This week I'm finally tackling an incredible Terminator Chaplain, a model that was generously donated to the channel a couple of years ago. This project has been a long time coming. I've had this model in my collection for years, fully intending to work on it, but for one reason or another, the timing never felt quite right. That is, until this week. Honestly, I don't know why. I just saw it sitting in the drawer and suddenly it felt like the perfect moment. So let's take a closer look at the model and see what needs to be done. I've always been a big fan of this model and models like this. It has a fantastic sculpt with a level of detail that's intricate without being overwhelming, although it's right on the edge, which is okay. What really stands out to me though is its old school charm. It's a hand sculpted metal model and I love the classic aesthetic. The plan for this project is simple: clean up the model, make any necessary repairs, and give it a fresh tabletop quality paint job. My aim is to honor the original paint scheme while adding a few personal touches to make it uniquely mine. Let's dive in and assess the state of the model. The model is decently painted with great color choices and a lot of solid work that's already been done. However, it is a metal miniature, and that brings some challenges. Soft metal models, while nostalgic, don't hold up as well as their plastic counterparts. Over time they develop dings and dents and the paint can just flake off, leaving bare spots that detract from an otherwise good paint job. Beyond that, some pieces have fallen off. I do remember unpacking this model when it arrived in the mail. Despite being well packed, the super glue bonds just couldn't withstand the movement during shipping. Metal models have this issue all the time, and it's totally fixable. The most significant damage though is to the staff, a thinner section of metal that is usually prone to snapping. Once I've stripped the paint, I'll be able to see if there's anything else that needs attention, but for now it's clear we will need to address that break. To strip the paint, I'll start by soaking the model in a jar of acetone. For metal miniatures, acetone is incredibly effective. It cuts through paint and primer without harming the model itself. That said, I wanted to experiment with a technique that I've been testing out recently. After soaking the model in acetone for about 15 minutes, I'll transfer it into a small jar of isopropyl alcohol and place it into a sonic cleaner filled with water. The water serves as a safety barrier since isopropyl alcohol is flammable and we don't want anything to happen. The sonic cleaner creates cavitation bubbles through sound waves. These bubbles implode with enough force to loosen debris, in this case paint, from the model's surface. It's a really cool process. Now this works really well and is safe for most materials, though resin can soften if left in too long, specifically isopropyl alcohol. However, when it comes to metal, acetone does remain the gold standard. This is just kind of an experiment for fun, and it looks cool. Flexispot was kind enough to send me a new E7 Plus table, and I have to say that this one is particularly impressive. I've had Flexispot tables for a good while now, and they've been absolutely fantastic hobby tables. They are ultra sturdy, have the flexibility of movement, and they look really nice in my space. The new E7 Plus that they sent over is the extra large version, the 80 by 30 to be precise. Now I've been needing a middle of the room game table solution for a while, and something that can hold a lot of stuff. This size is perfect for a working table for larger hobby projects, and it doubles as a gaming table that can hold all of the models and extras that you would need to play. The table was very easy to assemble, and it came with everything labeled and ready to go right out of the box, something that I've always appreciated about Flexispot. For hobbying and gaming, I can't think of a better table. Not having to struggle bending over short folding tables or that old card table in your closet, being able to get into an ergonomic position for painting or building, and having the option to go this big is such a good deal. The stability is also something to note. If you accidentally bump the table or somehow fall into it, it's not going anywhere, which means your projects aren't going to be going anywhere either. You're not going to bump the table and lose the only little teeny tiny bit for the thing that you're working on. It's pretty important. The E7 has a 540-pound static capacity, 4-legged, rock-solid stability, a keypad with a USB charger, and a sweet 15-year warranty. Flexispot provides all kinds of standing desks and ergonomic chairs to meet your demands. If you want a premium experience, you can order their E7 Pro standing desk, but if you're looking for something a little more stable, I'd recommend their E7 Plus standing desk with a 4-leg design, like the one I have here. They also have comfortable ergonomic chairs with flexible adjustments for your back. On top of that, Flexispot is going really hard this Black Friday with a massive discount across their entire web store. You also have the opportunity to win a free order on select upcoming dates. Check out the links in the description and pinned comment below and use my promo code for $50 off of their premium desks. Thanks again Flexispot for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to that mini. Once the sonic cleaner finishes its cycle, I'll scrub the model and use a soft wire brush to go into the deeper recesses. This not only removes stubborn paint, but it also polishes the surface, giving the metal a smoother finish. And that's going to help quite a bit when we actually go to paint this. A smoother finish, smoother surface, just makes the paint look better. With the paint stripped, I can start addressing the damage. The broken staff will be repaired by carefully cleaning the edges, drilling small holes, and pinning the two sections together with a piece of paper clip. For added durability and a seamless finish, more seamless I guess, I'll use Milliput to fill the gap. Next, let's talk about the base. The original base featured cobblestones and plants crafted from soft foam. While it looked good from a distance, the material wasn't really durable enough for frequent handling or gameplay. Like, the model kinda squished in and moved around, it was gonna fall off. It still looks nice, but I want to change it out for something that's gonna last a little bit longer. I've chosen to go with a Gothic Ruins base topper from Zabavka Workshop, a company that I use at this point pretty frequently. They're just really good. This topper sort of matches the original. It kind of has the same vibe to it, and I really like that. And that's why I ended up picking it. And I'll be able to pin the model to the new base using a paper clip for added stability, same as everything else. This ensures that the model stays secure even during transportation or playing a game. Now that everything is clean and repaired, we're ready to prime and paint. I started with several thin coats of black primer, providing a solid foundation. Since I want the armor to stay pretty black but still highlight it, I'm going to use a dark black with a little blue in it as a base coat. From there, I'll gradually build up the highlights by mixing in a lighter blue-gray into the base color, focusing on the raised areas. This creates subtle contrast while keeping the armor looking cohesive and, more importantly, still come off as black. To add a bit of warmth and depth, I applied a thin wash of orange-brown into the recesses. This brings out the details and gives the black armor a slightly aged, more grim-dark feel, which I like personally. To refine the shadows even further, I used some black ink, targeted specific areas to smooth those transitions and add more depth in color. Edge highlights in dark gray really bring out the armor too, emphasizing that more classic Space Marine look. I also added fine scratches using silver paint, applying it on the edge highlights but broken up for effect. This technique creates a chipping effect, adding even more depth and character to the armor. For the banners, cloth, and purity seals, I started with a khaki base coat, which covers a lot better than just a white. Took a couple of layers to fully cover, but it still looks nice. I followed this with gold for the metallic elements and a deep magenta for the purity seals. This did change from the original blue purity seals, but I feel like it helps balance the model's color palette a little bit more, and will give the blue that we do end up having much more striking appearance. The shoulder pads also get a coat of magenta, blending a lighter magenta in towards the top with a little bit of wet blending. I used the same magenta in the eye sockets, setting the stage for a bright red highlight later on. After base coating, I sealed everything with a couple of coats of gloss varnish to protect the layers and prepare for the next step. I really want to push the grim dark a little bit more. I really like that with the darker black armored models. So I applied a brown enamel wash, coating the model as evenly as possible all over. After about an hour of drying, I carefully removed the excess using makeup sponges and just a tiny bit of mineral spirits, blending the enamels in with the base coats. Removing enamel is always such a great, fun process, and it gives you a ton of control over the final look. If you want things super dirty, you can take off less. More, take off more. You can even remove it completely if you ended up not liking it at all. There's just a ton of control over how your model ends up looking. After getting a look I was happy with, I let the model dry for a couple more hours and then coated it with a matte varnish to seal everything in again. There are now several layers of protection on this model, and hopefully that will keep it from damage for many years to come. The base is up next, with dark gray covering the majority of the stones, and lighter gray highlights along the edges. The enamel wash left on the rocks does a really nice job at tying everything together, with giving it kind of an environmental reason for how everything else looks, like the armor. And it adds a ton of contrast in color. I really like how this turned out. For the finishing touches, I revisit all of the metallics, adding bright highlights to make them pop against the matte varnish, since that dulled the metallics down. And finally, the staff's handle got a vibrant blue treatment, with layered highlights and little stippled scratches to create a weathered look that is much closer to the original paint job. This model has been really awesome to work on. As an older metal sculpt, it still holds up incredibly well, both in design and character. Restoring it and giving it a new paint job has been a fulfilling process, and I hope that you enjoyed following along as well. Thank you again for joining me on another miniature rescue. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button, sharing this video with your hobby friends, and subscribing for more miniature rescues. And once again, I'm Casey, and I will see you in the next video. And of course, here's the completed Terminator Chaplain. Thanks again for watching.